Okay, it is 12 o'clock. It is literally midnight, and apparently a new Deltarune newsletter released. Now I'm just gonna be straight up. If it's not really interesting enough for me to make it to a video, I'm probably not. But we'll check it out. Immediately love the new sprites. It's summer. Can it be over yet? I don't know. It sure did. Oh, I can press on this. I don't know what I expected. Around a month ago, Deltarune Chapter 5 released. Did you notice? A bit. I'm pleased with the response to Chapter 5. Many friends told me that they loved it, and some people even cried a bit. Everyone's experience may vary, but if the game resonates deeply with a few players, I feel confident moving in the right direction. Now that it's been a bit, I have a lot of info and concept art about Chapter 5 to share, so please check here. Click here to check get out. Also, TikTok. Ooh, Tammy art peek as usual. Ooh, Tammy art is just so pretty. Before its release, I described Chapter 5 as a fun chapter. Hopefully everyone understands what I meant by that, which is that it is fun. Anyway, there aren't any more chapters where we focus on goofy, attention-hungry, dark, arcane characters with potential to win weird popularity contests. But thinking about the structure of the story, I think it was a perfect spot to do it one more time. You're talking about Tenna. I know Tenna won the recent in Tumblr Sexy Man contest, Toby Fox. Even though it's only been 4 chapters since Chapter 1, I wanted Chapter 5 to feel like a mix of nostalgic fun mixed with new, unforeseen concepts. Based on Chapter 1 of Deltarune, characters that reference concepts from Undertale, etc. It's the new mechanics. This time we added a platforming system where you can jump around, attack, and act. Development started in October 2021 with on and off programming by Ondi Dev. Ondi Dev? Creator of games such as trespassers, jeez Louise. Eventually, toward the end of Chapter 4, other members of the team were able to take Ondi's prototype and develop it further. Oh my gosh. We got a prototype video? Yo, what? This is sick. Dude, this is sick. Can we get this as a test map? You can see also Rouse and Susie are moving independently, mostly independently of Chris. Yeah, you can see they move with Chris, but as soon as an enemy comes on screen, they move independently. Jumping around, using axe. You can see it more near the end here. You can see that Rouse is just going wild with the jumps. Like, look at Rouse. Rouse is just going wild. As usual, we created tons and tons of prototypes. As usual, we created tons and tons of prototypes. There were a few design challenges with using the platforming system. I feel quite happy with its Can you tell it's 12 o'clock? Implementation in the final game. Here are some things we had to be concerned about. For each flower color, but not all were used. Oh! A little mouse orange. Cannonballs. Can y'all see my mouse, by the way? I actually don't know if you can. You can. Ah. That's a slight issue, I suppose. Hold on. I can fix that while this is playing. This is really interesting to see, like, the prototypes of all of this, you know? Wait, no, okay, capture cursor is on. Weird. Huh. Alright, I guess it just didn't appear for that one bit. Yo, someone's 100% gonna rebuild this all from scratch. I already know it. This is an RPG game with a focus on character action. If the game turns completely into an action platformer, it carries the risk of making the player feel like, why am I playing a why am I playing a shit knockoff of Hollow Knight? Instead of feeling like they are playing Deltarune. In order to inject some unique character-based elements to the gameplay, the platforming act system was developed in October 2024. A large amount of acts were considered for each character, but ultimately we found it most intuitive just have hanging with Rouse and Rude Buster with Susie. Another important Deltaruneism was adding lots of stupid optional dialogue for doing different things in the platforming mode, as well as having a couple RPG encounters accessible during that mode. This kept the mood from drifting too far from the main game. Another thing we had to keep in mind was that this could be somebody's first experience playing a platforming game. A terrifying thought, but technically possible. Nothing in the game has demanded any platforming skills before this, so we kept the actual jumping rather simple. On the other hand, it was fun. It was way too fun to make difficult challenges, so we tried to include a couple of those in optional areas. I noticed. Ooh. Besides platforming, other general challenges was writing a chapter that introduces 8 different characters to the main story without destroying the pacing. Oh, so this is so this right here is their first attempt at making a like puzzles that you can jump across in the mode. So like this would come to be the shadow puzzles, but they use the chapter 4 pianos as like their sort of like testing mode. That's fun. Oh, wait. Most end up. Oh, so maybe this was actually going to be just a separate type altogether. Ooh, that would have been interesting. But I can understand it feeling clunky. 8 different characters to the main story without destroying the pacing. However, putting aside how good an idea that is in the first place, I feel like I managed to pull this off fairly well. Showing off all of the individual qualities of different flowers without dragging the story down. Among my friends, everybody had a different favorite flower, and every flower was someone's favorite. So that's all I can hope for. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Chapter 5 has, like, my favorite characters. Just because, like, I care about all 8 of the flowers. Of course, I care about some more than others, but, like, there's no other chapter that I can confidently say that there are 8 extremely memorable characters. Maybe Chapter 1, but that's only because those characters have been around the longest. Chapter 5 has to deal with characters being around once. And, like, with Chapter 1, there's, of course, King, Rules Card, Lancer, Top Chef, Mr. Malleus. That's his name, right? I hope it is. The Rudens. Like, obviously, Chapter 1 has a lot of memorable enemies because it's been out the longest. We've had the most time to, be with it. If Chapter 1's characters were in Chapter 5, I feel like we would only really remember Lancer, Rules Card, and King. With maybe some remembering Top Chef and Mr. Malleus. So, like, it's incredibly impressive to just have 8 extremely memorable characters appear just for one chapter. Constantly carries a jacket over his shoulder he never wears. Well, he originally had a flower on his head. That's interesting. 10 years ago, everyone was misspelling Flowey as Flowery, and it was driving me crazy, so I thought, wouldn't it be funny if there was another Golden Flower character actually named Flowery? Then everyone can misspell his name as Flowey too. The Golden Flower, Gold, was able to become his own Mary Sue character in the form of Flowery. He's trying to be perfect, but he doesn't know anything about what it's like to really live. His interpretation of the ideal man is totally alien and over the top. He looks like a generic anime guy and is far taller than a normal human. It's probable he chose his own theme song and plays it himself. Somehow, which, by the way, It is basically a crappy, misremembered version of only 8 seconds of the full... Huh. And you must think this is awesome. Oh. Oh! It's censored for copyright. I thought it was censored because it was like a reference to like an old past thing or it was some curse word I didn't know about. But no. 8 seconds of the Full House theme song. The show Full House. It was a show, right? Hold on. Yeah. The show Full House. Okay. You can think of the other flower characters in a similar fashion. The designs may be strange, but that's because they had to decide who they wanted to be for themselves. I wonder what inspired each of their dreams. It's not really important to be honest, but it's fun to think about. Hopefully none of this comes across as new information. I'm simply pointing out what was in the game. Oh, here's some concept art from... Okay, you're really tired, but you can get this, Manly. Get the name. Toiko Yatabe. Toiko Yatabe? Of Studio Kera for the animation. Her early concept art for the animation determined Flowery's final outfit. Oh. Concept art for the animation, eh? Not mean to zoom in. He has a different appearance in different situations. I like when characters have an inconsistent design like this, especially for a character like him. Maybe the inconsistency is his fault. Everyone's favorite flower. Here's some comments arts for the other flowers. Aqua. Excuse me. Flower is on back of body on dress. I assume you mean the back of her dress? I didn't have any trouble drawing her. She's obviously inspired by Toho. By the way, the other day I talked to someone and they didn't know what Toho was, so I was like, Bad Apple? And they were like, huh, so it's a Hatsune Miku thing. It's not even so Hatsune Miku. Hatsune Miku! We've seen this before. Seth. The character Seth is inspired by the character named Seth from Illusions of Gaia. They are both purple and wear glasses, but they don't have any other similarities beyond that. Originally, Seth's first concept had white hair and skin that was a bit more lavender in tone. But when I showed it to my friends, they said, that's just, from Steven Universe. Oh my gosh. Steven Universe. So I changed it. I love how just direct references Toby makes in these. Green's appearance is inspired by the art style of my friend and Splendid Land, who designed Hacker, Ambulance, and a couple other great guys. She didn't even know about this character until the game came out. Wait, so... Oh, okay, so this character was inspired by her art style, but she didn't know about it. Also, I am loving this first green design right here. Loving that design. Orange. It was hard to express the joy of her expression in such a small sprite. Look at her, Look at her! Anyway, it was important to have one of the characters be a mouse. Make it absurdly obvious how distorted their idea of humanity is. He had two designs, and the early one from October 2016. This guy was designed in 2016. He had more of a beard and was a cool, collected guy. Then a dream later, January 2020, he takes some inspirations from Woody from Toy Story. Yeah. He was foreshadowed a bit in Chapter 3 with some bath curtains. I think that's kind of the full extent of the initial cowboy foreshadowing I've done in my life. I can't wait to look at every other reaction only for them to scream Woody theory. I'm sorry, I don't know. Am I coming across as salty? I don't intend to. It's just when when every other video of Chapter 5 you see is somebody screaming, Woody Theory this, Woody Theory that, it gets annoying after a while. I'm sorry. In the game, he has a different hairstyle during his face sprite. So it would be fun to provide multiple positions for what he looks like. That's it. That's all. You're not gonna tell us what. You're not gonna tell us about this first blue design, and also why blue is the only other flower with a face portrait. Like it's only him and Flowery. Other enemy designs. I'm sorry. I love the Mantis Dancer's design. No one talks about them, but I love their design. I had 2 guest artists on this chapter design enemies. Nail Now actually designed 4 enemies for this chapter. Shinobito, Terracotta, the Pot Archer, and the Mantis Dancer. Ultimately, only 2 of them were used in chapter 5 anyways. loving the proto beetle design, or maybe that's just what they look like underneath the ninja suit. Again, I love this design. It's so pretty. I love this design. I always love the Archer design too. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. Oh, that is adorable. Oh, I love them. Oh. I love the Archer design as well. Natoshi Ariga. Natoshi Ariga is a Japanese artist who's most well known for drawing the manga Rockman Mega Mix and designing a number of Pokemon, including the recently beloved Sneasler, Fluttermane, and Ogre. They designed Ogerpon? Oh, it's one of my favorite designs! Huh. However, did you know that he also drew the character sprites for many classic games, including Illusions of Gaia? A lot of Illusions of Gaia here. Anyway, we drew a bit of a fox character, and then I made some modifications to it for the game. Ah, neat. By the way, he and his family are immensely awesome and kind people. Oh, are we getting no caca design, huh? All right, you're scared. You're scared to show people. Maybe Bull helped out with the music this time. Anyway, also, Garden of Hopes and Dreams. Hard to believe this guy was a kid when he made his first Undertale jazz album. So we're glad to be able to feature him in the game. I originally featured his music in an early trailer for Deltarune, but as long as we were featuring a fancy version of Field of Hopes and Dreams, I wanted to make the battle theme fancy too. Yeah, I heard about that. I think the chapter 1 trailer, like after survey program was dropped and it was, the advertising became Deltarune. Actually, I think it might have been for the chapter 1 and 2 trailer. I don't know if chapter 1 had its own like self-pointed trailer. Cutie Mew Mew Magic, yeah, who would have guessed? Camellia. Okay, I say who would have guessed, yes, but like, yeah, no. We all knew it was Camellia after everyone spouted about it, For this song, I arranged a demo of the first dozen seconds, and sent that alongside a few minutes of me playing the piano and singing. It's provided a text description of each part. Camellia did all the actual work beyond that, lol. Anyway, the chiptune demo I gave him was originally was really just the first 6 seconds of this, plus the melody. But I did some more just now to make it worth listening to. Ooh. Oh? Oh? Ooh. 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 I hear Hatsune Miku. Ooh. Even though she's not in this song, in this version at least, I hear Hatsune Miku. This is a jam! it's just a demo into Jam. Flower Man, Camellia. I actually tried to create this song by myself multiple times, and even tried multiple times to collaborate with different musicians to try to do a live version with vocals. But I think it turned out right with the samples I was using, so I ended up begging Camellia to arrange it. Here's the earliest piano outline. I made an outline of this. I think I'm in love. I made an outline of this song. She arranged it, then I mixed it back together with my own arrangements. Also, for the logo, it was inspired by the Sailor Moon art eye catch. Also, woo, woo, woo. Also, the creator of Fields of Mystria, Claire drew Pink's talking sprites and basic overworld sprites for Chapter 5. She's a great friend that encouraged me immensely to complete Undertale, so I'm super happy I got to work with her. Okay, thanks. Nice. The Flower Man. Can I do something to make him laugh? Inside my little chamber made of glass, so he lived the Flower Man, with his heart in the sand. So he stands to watch the whole wide world from a cat, way up high in the sky. I forgot. What's next? Chapter 5 was a really fun chapter, and with that, the last big burst of craziness out of the way. I'm sure everyone is eager for Deltarune to start directly tackling the main mysteries of the game. Me too. With Chapter 5, we completed the last of the necessary setup for Chapter 6 and 7. For Chapter 6 onwards, there are no more wacky, silly adventures, and you will begin to see the results of the setup that has been made so far. Chapter 6 is a shorter, straightforward chapter that focuses on one aspect of the story. Because of that, many things are still not touched on here. In fact, it may surprise you what was missing. But one thing will be clarified, whether you're ready or not. Oh, that terrifies me. One thing will be clarified whether you're ready or not. The theory crafting is gonna go hard. So Chapter 6 is gonna focus on one main thing. It could be the Knight's, identity, Dessa's disappearance, what's going on with Rouse, the ending to the prophecy. It could be so many juicy little details. So you may say, wait, you need to make the chapters longer, not shorter. That's an extremely reasonable concern. But by the end of Chapter 7, I'm 100% sure you'll understand why I feel confident by the way I'm telling the story. Don't worry about the pacing until it's over. I believe we will be able to release Chapter 6 in 2027. Chapter 6 would be released by itself. In case there's any question... Oh, alright, yeah. In case there's any question about that. Recently I finished writing a few more sequences towards the last third of Chapter 6 and rearranging the runes to fit the new structure. Once you make these adjustments and tie everything together, we'll be able to play a rough draft of the chapter from beginning to end. Barring any major restructuring, the main things that will continue to need development time are the boss of the chapter and polishing cutscenes. Speculation. Theories? Personally, I really don't read or watch theories. That's because I already know what my game is. However, I think it's amazing that people think about the game so much. It's not an exaggeration to say that thinking about the game that thinking about this game can be just as much of the experience as playing it. Anyone who keeps thinking about it like I have gets my highest blessing. So imagining what could happen, trying to think about the meaning of the game is very cool. However, I do think it's important to mention, sometimes you don't have all the information, or I had a different expectation about how certain info would be interpolated or combined. Anyway, while I think it's good to keep an open mind as to what will eventually happen, I want to say that you guys should keep having as much fun as you can. The speculative art, stories, and theories that you come up with while the game is still ongoing will forever be special. Because the only time such a thing can ever be created. All of you who are creating a time capsule unique to this single fleeting moment in time. And I think that's something to be incredibly proud of. Isn't it great that you're here right now, playing this thing as it comes out? What's Girona? When I was younger, my older sibling would say stupid anime style, all made up names, and then pretend to attack me. One was, "It's my Girona." A couple other phrases are also references is like that, including the unused voice clip, Blingo Blizzard. Blingo Blizzard! They simply encouraged me to add, "It's my hummingbird" as another quote of the game, but I haven't done that yet. Will I ever? What's Kiki? Kiki is my cat that won't shut up. Wait. Oh my gosh! The cat only interacts when my mouse is near! She gets incredibly noisy every second you don't play with her. She watched her room on TV and didn't understand it was her. She's like if a cat's brain was put into a cat's body. The song in the room is the song that I sang to her every day because I love her. It's not fan service for you, but it's a Kiki service. For her, For her, even though she doesn't like it. She's bothering me right now. New merch! Whew. Yep. By the way, I told Fangamer not to expect to... That's threatening. That's a threatening line. By the way, I told Fangamer not to expect to make too much merchandise for Chapter 6 and 7. That is a threatening line. That has a lot of implication added to it. Anything else? Desire, enjoy the corn. Happy summer and enjoy the corn. What the hell is this? Another newsletter, another Deltarune. Man. I'm glad he clarified this, by the way. The whole don't worry about the pacing until it's over. Because I have seen a lot of people get worried about pacing recently. And I've always stuck to my guns that I'm sure Toby Fox will do just great. I mean, 90% of Undertale's, biggest lore drops were done in the last, 5% of the game. We'll be fine, guys. Now, I want to chat about this. First of all, the last time Toby Fox said that a chapter was going to be short, it was chapter 4. So, I'm not sure how trusting I am of this. However, many things that focuses on one aspect of the story. I might make a separate video on that, but it's got me really curious. What does he mean by one separate aspect of the story? Because there's a lot of aspects. But there are some aspects that could be touched on by touching on other aspects, like, what's Rousey's deal? What is Rousey? I feel like if we knew the end of the prophecy, we would understand Rousey a lot more. If we understood Rousey more, we would understand the end of the prophecy more. But, in all fairness, character arc has been coming along for all three of our main characters. And Noelle, because she's becoming a main character. She was a main character in Chapter 2, but she wasn't in Chapter 3 or 4. She was a side character in Chapter 5. Okay, she was also a side character in Chapter 4. Noelle's becoming a side character is my point. But simply put, we might just learn Rousey's deal on the sidelines, but Chapter 6's main deal. My main thoughts: end of the prophecy, Knight's identity, or what's in the bunker. No, it can't be what's in the bunker, because we only have 2 of the 3 codes we need. And Susie doesn't even know the first code. She just knows the second code. But we know the first code. Wait a minute. Okay, call me crazy, right? It's just a random theory. But we know 1225 is significant, right? That's December 25th, that's Christmas. Typing that into the gumball machine. And it's also a passcode, by the way, on your way out to fight Tenna. Or before that, it's one of those. Okay, not fight Tenna, probably, but yeah. And putting the gumball machine would send you to a weird place. The second code was the date, I'm pretty sure, of Undertale's release. What if the third code is 6453? The mic room. I'm just saying. It could be 6453. I'm just saying. But now then. One thing will be clarified, whether you're ready or not. That whether you're ready or not is what's really getting me there. Whether you're ready or not. Okay. Before I make a big old theory about it, just off the head thought. I think it might be Chris's deal with the knight and Carol, or the identity of the knight. I don't think it'll be the Bunker Dark World, because we only have 2 of the 3 codes. And I'm not sure if it'll be the ending of the prophecy. But whatever it is, I am looking forward to it. I'll see y'all in the next one, and I'll see ya next time.